Section 9.3, graphing rationals. Tonight's homework is page 591. You're going to do numbers 1 through 6. If I'm asking you for points of discontinuity, I'm essentially asking you for the vertical asymptotes and any holes. So those are the same thing. So that's why it's going to be smarter for you to find the vertical asymptotes and holes first, and then you can tell me what the pods are. So I want the two asymptotes and any holes, and then the intercepts when you plug in 0 for both x and y. So for letter A, I asked for 3x plus 5 over x minus 2. So as a reminder from before the break, each one of these sections I should be able to get some information. What did we do in this top one again? We did a vertical asymptotes. So I would just set the denominator equal to 0, so I have a vertical asymptote at x equals 2. And then what did we do down here? How do you find your x-intercepts? Set the numerator equal to 0, and then you'll see if there's any holes, right? Because if there's a hole, that means these two would have the same answer, right? So you set the numerator equal to 0, so that's 3x plus 5 equaling 0. So 3x equals negative 5, so x equals negative 5 thirds. And that is going to be my x-intercept. So do I have a hole? Why not? How come I have no holes? Yeah, x equals 2 here, and this x equals negative 5 thirds. They're not the same thing. So I don't have any holes. How about here in the right-hand corner? What did we do here? A horizontal. So how do I know if it's horizontal? What do I have to look at? The exponents. Very good. So is it top heavy, bottom heavy, or the same? The same. So if it's the same, then you look at the coefficients. And what is the coefficient here? What's the coefficient here? 1. So 3 divided by 1 is? So the horizontal asymptote is y equals 3. So I have my x-intercept. How do I find my y-intercept? Plug in 0 for what this time? Okay, if I want my x-intercept, I made my y 0. If I want my y-intercept, I'm going to make my x equal to 0. So plug in 0 into your equation. What do you get? Plug in 0 here. What do you get? 5 over negative 2. Okay? So your y-intercept is 0, comma, negative 5 halves. All right, let's take it up a notch. What would my domain and range be? Ten seconds in your group, remind each other. How do you find the domain and range? Which one's the walking across? Which one's the elevator? Remind each other. Remind each other. Victoria, which one's the domain, babe? The walking across, right? So you're walking across, la 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 la, and then you hit a vertical asymptote, right? So you're walking across, and then all of a sudden there's a electric fence where? At x equals 2. So the domain can be anything but what? 2. So how do you tell people the domain can be anything but 2? Very good. All real numbers except x equals 2. But how do you write that in function notation? Negative infinity to 2, and then 2 to positive infinity. What about the range? You're going up and down the elevator, except there's an asymptote where? At y equals 3, right? So there's action on every floor except which floor? The 3rd floor. Liz, sit up, babe. Elizabeth, you alright, babe? You're like out of it today. So my range is going to be everything but 3. How do you tell people everything but 3? Alright, any questions on domain and range? Alright, let's take a look at letter B. Same idea. I have negative 2x plus 6 over x squared minus 9. Again, I'm going to bring it into my quadrants. Here I have my vertical asymptotes. Deshaun, how do you find the vertical asymptote? Okay, so we'll set this equal to 0. So you get x squared minus 9 equals 0. Add 9 to both sides. X squared equals 9. That means x is equal to 3 and negative 3. So I have 2 vertical asymptotes. All right, let's find our x-intercept by setting the numerator equal to 0. So negative 2x plus 6 equaling 0. Subtract 6 on both sides. Negative 2x equals negative 6, so x equals 3. Do I have any holes? Yes, where? At x equals 3. So I have a hole at x equals 3 because these two both exist at 3. So that's going to be a hole. Am I top heavy, bottom heavy, or the same? Bottom heavy. So do you have an asymptote if you're bottom heavy? Do you have an asymptote if you're bottom heavy? If you're bottom heavy, do you have an asymptote? Yes. Where? Y equals 0. Very good. So my horizontal asymptote is at y equals 0. Whoo, what 2 weeks does to us. You're like, All right, so I have my y-intercept that I want to find now. How do I find my y-intercept? Plug in 0, right? So plug in 0 here. So what are you left with? Oops, sorry. 6 over negative 9, which reduces to negative 2/3. Good. With your group, give me the domain and range, please. Talk to each other. Do it. Negative 1? But over here, they got an answer of 3. Does that mean that they're wrong? How many answers are there? There's 3. So you guys could get negative 1, or you could get 3, or you can get the third one, which I won't tell you what it is because this group's going to tell me. What's the third answer? Almost. Negative 2. So you don't all have to do it the same way. Some of us will start to get with one answer and then find the other 2 by factory. Okay? So what did you guys find as the first one, this group? You guys found 3 as your first one that worked. Because when you plug in 3, wait, negative 3 or 3? Did you guys find 3 or negative 3? Positive 3. Watch. What is the coefficient in front of the x cubed? 1. What's the coefficient in front of the x squared? What x squared? Exactly. How many x squareds are there? 0. Don't forget to put 0 for the placeholder. What's the number in front of the x? What's the number in front of that doesn't have an x at all? Oh my God, it's coming back to you, Jarrell. I know. This feels amazing. Remember? Ma. What does that mean? Multiply, then add. Multiply, then add. Multiply, then add. Bring down that 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Add it up. What do you get? 3. 3 times 3 is... Oh my God, how exciting. What do you get? Oh my God, I can't believe it. What is it? Oh, thank you. 2 times 3 is... What happens? Remainder of 0, which is exactly what we want. This is your remainder. This is your... Oh, I'm not convinced. Here we go. This is your remainder. This is your... This is your remainder. This is your... 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 X. This is your... I'm not convinced. Do it again. This is your... This is your... This is your... This is your... So this is your remainder. This is your constant. This is your x. This is your x squared. Let's go. What is x squared plus 3x plus 2? How do you factor that? Josh, help me out. What multiplies to 2 and adds to 3? X plus 2. Miss Riad needs new pens. X plus 2, x plus 1. Set these each equal to 0, and what do you get? X equals? -2, -1. And what's the one that we already found? All this is just to factor the numerator. What did we just do? 10 seconds in your group, talk to each other. What did we just find by doing all this? What did we just find? Let's do a little popcorn. Rashawn, what did we do first? What's the first thing that we did? Rashawn. I know, right? That's why I'm looking at you this time, because you guys see me earlier? I went back to Deshaun and I was talking to Jarrell. So sorry. Go. Oh, because you weren't listening because you thought I was talking to Sean. Sean, are you listening? You're next. Sean. What is the first thing that we did? To solve this, what's the first thing that we did? Yeah, took out a 3 and you factored out the 3, right? And then what do we do? Yes, but before synthetic division you have to find the... How do you know what to plug in for synthetic, babe? Yeah, P over Q. Sean, then what did you do after that? Yes, how did you know what to plug in? Yes, we found factors of 6 and 3. And then which ones did your group, what did you guys find? Which one worked? You guys found -1 first? All right, now once you find the first root, Zuhair, what do you do with how to find the other two? Ay, te digo, ¿por qué no escuchen?
Wait, for x squared plus 2x plus 2?
How did you find the other two?
You factored it.
All right, good. What did we just find right here? Let's go. This is what we just did right here. We factored the top. And when you factor the top, what does that give you? The x-intercepts down here. Right? So the x-intercepts are -2, 0, -1, 0, and 3, 0. What's the y-intercept? How do you find the y? Oh wait, we have to divide it by. We have to divide it by the bottom. How do we find the y-intercept? Plug in 0 up here. So boop, this goes away. Boop, that goes away. What are you left with? -18 divided by -6, which is +3. So your y-intercept is what? 0, 3. The reason why I'm not going to put y equals 3 because that's a line, right?
Yeah.
But yes, y is 3. Very good. All right, what's my vertical asymptotes? How'd you get that so fast? Yes, you make your denominator equal to 0. So 3x minus 6 equals 0. Add 6 and divide by 3, you get x equals 2. Are there any holes?
Yeah, no.
That says 2. What does that say?
Negative 2.
So are there any holes?
Nada.
No. How do you find your horizontal asymptotes? Is it top heavy, bottom heavy, or neither? Do you have an asymptote if you're top heavy? What's my domain? Negative infinity to 2 to negative 2? Right here. Vertical goes with domain. 2 to infinity. What's my range? My range might look at my horizontal. Negative infinity to infinity. You guys feeling better about this stuff? Say yay or nay. Alright, let's take a look at last night's homework because some of it was not reviewed for some of us. Apparently this is stuff that you did not, some of you guys had questions on it. So I'm going to give you one more night for worksheet number 30. So if you take a look at number 25, if I have 2b plus 2, then I have a b plus 5. I'm going to multiply that by 24b minus 40, and then 6b squared minus 4b minus 10. I'm going to teach you one way to keep yourself organized. Again, I'm a fan of these quadrants. You literally write each part up here, and then you're just going to factor each part. How can I factor 2b plus 2? What can I factor out?
2.
A 2. And what am I left with?
2 times 2b plus 1.
Yes, a 2 and then a b plus 1. What can I factor out of the 24 and a 40? What is a big number that divides 24 and 40? What am I left with?
8 parentheses 3b.
3b and then
Minus 5.
minus 5. So this whole thing is in the numerator. Because when you multiply fractions, everything's in the numerator and everything here is in the denominator, right? All right, so b plus 5. Can I reduce that in any way? No, so that's just b plus 5. What can I factor out of a 6, a 4, and a 10? 2. What's left over? 3b squared minus 2b minus 5. Factor that for me. What multiplies to negative 15 and adds to negative 2? Yep, negative 5 and 3. Good job. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see that. So I have 3b squared minus 5b plus 3b minus 5. Lightning bolt. I take out a b, and I'm left with 3b minus 5. Here I take out a 1, and I'm left with 3b minus 5. So I have drop down this 2. I have a b plus 1, and then I have a 3b minus 5. So all of this is in the denominator. So in the numerator, I have a 2, I have a b plus 1, I have an 8, and I have a 3b minus 5. That's all on the numerator.
I just negative 15.
Negative 15?
Yeah, that's fine. Back there. The up,
No,
up.
the X.
I did
Negative 15.
3 times negative 5, babe. It's just factoring. And then on the bottom, you have a b plus 5. You have a 2. You have a b plus 1. And you have a 3b minus 5. Now you get to start canceling, guys. See this 2 and this 2? They cancel. See this b plus 1 and that b plus 1? Those cancel. Do I have anything to cancel the 8 with?
Yeah, 3b minus 5.
But 3b minus 5 gets canceled, but not the 8, right? So what's the only thing left over? What's the only thing left over on top?
A over B plus 5.
And then what's the only thing down here is b plus 5. Let's do number 27 together, and then you guys can finish the rest of it for homework. You guys remember how to divide fractions? Cesar, yeah. Let's go back in the day, If I do 1/2 divided by 3/5, what are you supposed to do with this 3/5? Reciprocal. So this is change it to 1 multiply and then flip and flip. So whenever you divide fractions, you flip the second fraction. So for number 27, I have something, something, something divided by 1 over 7x. What am I going to do with this 1 over 7x? I'm going to flip it. I'm going to make this a multiply, and what am I going to do with this? So this will be a 7x over 1. So here I have a 2x plus 5 over 2x squared minus 3x minus 20. Let's do my quadrants. Can I reduce 2x plus 5? Mia, you're scaring me because you're not even writing this down, babe. What's going on? Huh? 2x plus 5, can I reduce it? No, leave that alone. Can I reduce 7x? No, so just leave that alone. That's basically going to be your numerator. How do you factor 2x squared minus 30 minus 20? Again, you do this. 2 times negative 20 is negative 40. What multiplies to negative 40 and adds to negative 3? 8 and 5, which one's negative? The 8 is negative. So here I'm going to basically have 2x squared minus 8x plus 5x minus 20. Lightning bolt. Take out a 2x, I'm left with x minus 4. Take out a 5, I'm left with x minus 4. This factors to 2x plus 5 and x minus 4. That's your denominator here. What's the denominator here?
1.
It's just 1. So basically I have 2x plus 5 times 7x in the numerator. And the denominator I have 2x plus 5 and an x minus 4 and a 1. What's going to cancel? 2x plus 5. Anything else? So what's left over? 7x over x minus 4. Can you guys do number 29 with your groups, please?